Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at how to 1v3 like an Apex Predator. Everyone wants to be able to 1v3, they want to be able to clutch up in those certain situations, but not a lot of people understand the whole science behind it, so I'm going to be breaking it down and showing you guys. But if you're here, it's clear you're looking to get better at Apex, so you need to go check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there we have top level coaches, including myself, creating the best, most highly informative guides that you will not find anywhere else. Doesn't matter if you're looking to get better positioning, decision making, aim, or literally anything else, because we've got VOD reviews, legend guides, gun guides, and just so much more. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, let's hop into things. And I want to make one thing very clear. 1v3 is very hard to do. It takes a while to actually start to understand the flow of them and start to do them properly. And while this video will help you identify certain things to look for in those 1v3s, it's going to take time for you to implement them. So the first thing that I want to talk about, you guys, is no filling. No fill is extremely important if you guys actually want to start being able to do this consistently. What no filling does is kind of reinforce stuff in your head that you cannot rely on your teammates because you have no teammates. And it can be a little bit daunting to some people to go into no fills because, you know, it's a team game. You want to have somebody backing you up. But trust me guys, once you first start to get into no fills and start to understand them, it will make you such a better player. And don't go head first diving into no fill trios. That'll just kind of set you back a little bit further because you're going to get frustrated. Go into no fill duos, start to understand how to 1v2 a little bit better, and once you can do those consistently, then go into the no fill trios. When no filling first came out, it's something that I did constantly, and it made me such a better player because I always knew that I didn't have anybody backing me up, so I had to think things through extremely carefully. If I went down, there was no second chance. But okay, that's the first thing that we had to talk about, so now let's dive into the actual step-by-step process of a 1v3. But the first step in a 1v3 is getting initial damage out. This is probably one of the most important parts of a 1v3 because it sets you up and allows you to control the flow of the fight if done properly. Controlling the flow of the fight is extremely important, especially in a 1v3, because a 1v3 isn't actually a 1v3. If you think of it that way, you're going to lose. The way that you should be thinking about a 1v3 is 3 1v1s, and initial damage allows you to control the flow so you can start to split people up into those 1v1s. But on top of that, it will also allow you to do a couple other things like get information on what kind of armors the enemy team has. If you don't have a Vantage, you won't be able to see what they have going into a fight. And if they have better armors than you, then you have to start playing it a little bit differently. But if you have, say, a purple armor and they have 3 whites, you can play it a lot more aggressive because you have a bigger advantage on them. A lot of people that I talk to about 1v3s don't actually understand how important small little bits of information are when you're trying to do these things. But seriously guys, really drill it into your head. The tiniest little bit of information can help you win a fight. But to show you guys how important initial damage is, let's hop into one of my in-game examples and show you guys. Now in this example, we are on Broken Moon in backup Atmo, and we are playing up on the top floor because we are down a person and high ground is king, and there's a full 3-man underneath me and my teammate. Now full disclosure, I was not expecting them to zip up at the time that they were, so I was not fully prepared for it. My teammate did end up getting caught out because he was trying to hold the zip line like I should have been, but I'm human, I make mistakes, and I admit that I make mistakes. But because they full 3-man zipped up on my teammate, he wasn't really able to get out and he does go down. And the way that my teammate and the enemy team was positioned, I wasn't able to get any shots in with my wingman. I actually just ended up putting shots into my teammate's back. However, because there's still a little bit of distance between me and the enemy team, I'm still able to get a little bit more initial damage out. So I swap to my car and I end up being able to one-clip their lifeline. That is extremely important initial damage because now it is a 1v2 and not a 1v3. They have to play it a little bit smarter. They can't just full run at me. If they full run at me, that is a mistake and I'm able to capitalize on that. But because I was able to get this initial damage out, I've changed the flow of the fight and I've made it a lot better for me to be able to clutch this out. If you guys are able to pull this out in your own games, you will see that the fights completely change as soon as you do this. But now we can move into the second step, and that is to split them up. If you guys remember from just a little bit before, I said that you cannot think of a 1v3 as actually a 1v3. You have to think of it as 3 1v1s. So after you get that first initial damage out, that'll hopefully split them up a little bit so that you can continue to do it in step 2. If you get a lot of damage out, even if you don't down somebody, they are out of the fight because they have to heal. That takes it from a 1v3 to a 1v2, and then you can continue to split them up by using your character's abilities. Every single character in Apex has some way to split the team up. Whether it's movement like Octane or Pathfinder, creating cover like a Gibraltar Bubble in Newcastle Ultimate, Bangalore Smoke, or even creating choke points like Caustic or Watson or even a Catalyst. No matter who you play, you will have an opportunity to split people up if you you actually understand your character's abilities. And creating gaps in teams is going to change from game to game. Sometimes you're going to be able to split people up a lot and there's going to be massive gaps in between them, and sometimes not so much and you're going to have to work with what you've got. But now that you guys actually understand that this is something you're going to have to do, you can start to look for it in your own games and you'll start to be able to identify it. When you're in a fight, you'll say, hey, this guy's split up. This is what I need to be doing. And then you can go and capitalize on that. But let's jump back into that 1v3 example that I was showing you guys earlier and kind of show you how I split them up when there's not a whole lot of space to work with. Now, immediately after I down that lifeline, I don't try to ego challenge somebody because there's still two people there. I'm still at a disadvantage. So I back up and let one come to me. When they start to come to me, that is splitting them up. And even though it's not a huge gap in between the teammates, it's still a gap that I can work with. That's why I back up behind the door, close the door, and use that to my advantage. And as soon as the Mad Maggie peeks around the corner, I open the door back up, get a lot of damage out on her, and once again, I start to move because I don't want to let the teammate catch up to the Mad Maggie. I want to continue to make gaps. I want to continue to split them up. And that is why I start to climb on top of this little ledge right here, because one, it gives me high ground, and like I said earlier, high ground's king. You should always take high ground whenever you can. But two, if they start to climb up as well, they are super vulnerable. They do not have a weapon. It gives me free shots on them. So as soon as I climb up, the Maggie actually didn't know where I went and she just turned the corner, and again, it gave me free shots. So I'm able to kill her because she's split from her team. I'm taking this 1v1. I used all my advantages and I was able to get her down without taking a ton of damage. I still took some, but it's not enough to really make me panic. But because I continued to move and continued to create space, I split the Mad Maggie up from her teammate, and instead of taking a 1v2 that I probably would have lost, I took a 1v1 where I won without taking a bunch of damage. But you guys can see, I didn't really move a whole lot. I didn't create a ton of space between her and her teammate, but I still created enough space to work with. Now though, we can jump into the third step, and this is to close it out. And honestly, this is where most people end up going wrong because they can get to this stage where they kill two people, but they don't know what to do against the third. And I get it, your adrenaline's pumping, you don't know what to do, you kind of freak out a little bit, and you just kind of misplay one small thing, and that leads you to losing the fight. But if you're in this situation, once you get it down to the last 1v1, you just have to take a deep breath. You're no longer really being pressured. If you can back up a little bit more. You can take your time. If they start to res somebody, then you can be a little bit more aggressive. But right now, you have just controlled the entire fight. They have to play off of you. So the first thing you need to do is identify where the last person is. If you have no idea where they are, they can be coming from any direction. So you need to figure out where they are. Once you do that, you need to think about any utility they might have used, what utility you still have left, and also reload your weapons. I can't tell you how many times I've died in this situation because I completely forget to reload my guns. I go to swap to one and it's just got no bullets in it and I die. So yeah, think about their cooldowns, think about your cooldowns, reload your weapons. But then after that, you can then heal up if you need to. Right now, you're resetting. You are taking the time that you need to get to where you want to be. So don't be afraid to pop a battery, pop some shield cells, pop a syringe if you need to. Keep an eye on them and take your time. Don't rush things. Let them make a mistake by rushing something if they want to, but right now, you are in control. And then once you've done all of that, you can restart the fight and go into it as just a straight up 1v1. It's essentially just you being better than the other person and making sure that you can close things out and win the fight. If you're not comfortable in a 1v1 and you just took two people out on your own, I don't know what to tell you. But again, let's jump back into the same 1v3 and show you guys how I close these out. Now, after I kill the Mad Maggie, I drop off of height, and some people might be saying, why are you doing that when you say that high ground's king? Well, it's to identify where the horizon is. If I'm above her, I cannot see her, and she can come out of any one of those doors, throw her gravity lift down, and kill me while I'm healing on top of the roof there. At least while I'm on this door, I have different options. If she comes to kick it down, then I can play the door a little bit, I can drop off the side, I can climb back up onto height. There's things that I can do as long as I can see what she's planning to do. But thankfully, as I drop down, I start to pop my battery. She doesn't know exactly what she wants to do, and she doesn't go for the kick. And I understand why. Typically, you should never kick a door down in Apex. It just leads to you being a free kill. But because I can see exactly where she is, and I still have this door completely intact, I go for the swing. I open up the door, I do some damage onto her, and I notice she has no shield. So the entire time that I fought the Mad Maggie, she had no idea what she wanted to do. She was panicking because I took two of her teammates out. She didn't heal, she didn't reset, she didn't do anything, and that's a huge mistake. So that is why I don't close the door immediately after. I just go for the straight up fight. And I'm able to one clip her, kill her, and I just pulled off a 1v3 where in most situations people would just probably die here. But let me know if you guys have any questions about 1v3s or if you guys would like me to cover a specific situation in the comments down below. And if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one.